Hello and welcome to episode 70 of the Fixing Football podcast with me, Martin Naylor. I'm here with Luke Foley and Liam O'Meara. Boys, how you doing? Luke, let's start with you.
I'm still quite ill, but I'm getting better. How about you?
Well, I feel like I've caught your lurgy somehow, but I'm alright. I'm a bit baritone tonight, so we'll just see how that goes. A bit more monotone than usual. Liam, how are you doing, mate?
I'm feeling a lot better. I'm at the other end of one. Not too bad. The house hasn't flooded yet, despite the great flooding of Norwich at the moment. Yeah, so sandbags out, all hands to the deck. We'll see if we survive the night.
Well, let's stay with you, Liam, for a sec. Bolton Wanderers back. We're back winning. Everything's rosy. Is that the general consensus?
Not really. I'd say the results are better. They couldn't really get any worse. But 2 wins on the spin now and 2 more winnable games ahead. So we could go into the international break in a pretty healthy position, I would say, if we can manage to win our 2 games coming, which will be Tuesday, so today, if you're listening, away at Northampton, and a game against Cambridge, 2 very, very winnable games. Win those 2, we put 4 wins in a row together. And at this stage of the season, that'll probably get you back in the top 5. So very much back in it. I don't think that tells the full story. We have switched formation, which I think has helped, getting 3 back in midfield, because that's how you play football these days. It's playing in 2 in midfield is absolutely nuts. It's almost borderline deranged if you're not got absolute gruesome Modric, maybe. You could probably get away with it. But we're back with 3 in midfield, and it's making a difference. I think there's still we didn't play brilliantly away at Crawley, but Crawley were quite impressive. They kept the ball really well, but didn't really create anything. But they really were moving the ball around well, very confidently. And we managed to get an early goal, which helped, and then picked them off on the break late on. So the Whites go marching on, Martin.
Well, you've been marching. It's been a week since we did our little preview of the Bolton Arsenal match, the OG FFP derby. And you got your nice goal to celebrate. What did you think of it? It's silly saying like what did you think of it when everyone knows you lost? But do you think that it was the start of the tide turning in terms of performance?
What
I thought they did. I thought Bolton did okay.
Really? I thought we were actually quite poor. I think we started quite well. We put some, and then we gave away a really cheap goal.
Yeah.
Scott Arfield, he's been a horrendous signing for us, to be completely honest. Brought in because he knows how to win, apparently, because he played at one of the 2 big clubs in Scotland that only can win. So apparently that means he knows how to win. And he essentially gifted Declan Rice a chance at the edge area, and then that were it then, really. I felt like after that we were just sort of hanging on. But I don't think we gave the best account of ourselves. I think we could have been a lot better than that. But the difference between top-end Premier League and everybody else is absolutely nuts. It's the same night that Liverpool beat West Ham 5-1 as well.
Yeah.
So it could have been a lot worse. We could have lost 7 or 8-0. We can leave losing 5-1 and just move on. And I think that's the best that we could do. I think it was a good night for you guys, because a lot of your academy players really stepped up, and I think you probably have a bit to say on that.
Yeah, we'll touch on that later. I was happy that Erik got a good amount of time, and some of the other lads, especially the lot was made. I don't know if you heard, but that goalkeeper was only 16.
Yeah, it did get mentioned once or twice, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get onto that in a minute. There's a couple of other performances we should highlight from the weekend. Let's start with you, Luke Foley. The world famous Manchester United have been going into these 8 winnable games that you described.
I did say Spurs might be a difficult one.
Yeah, but not this difficult. And United have come out today, which is Monday, saying that I mean, I don't know where these sources are from, but that Erik Ten Hag will see out at least another week, another 7 days, and make it to the international break as Manchester United manager. But there's names being bandied around everywhere. You have been on record quite profoundly and said that you think he should have gone, he should go. You don't know what he's doing, you don't know what the tactics are, and I think Gary Neville was pretty vocal about it as well straight after the match, about the sort of direction of the club under Ten Hag now, and it's turned away from blaming the Glazers and the ownership and the board behind, because that is now in place. Now, while you can't expect immediate results, the fans still aren't seeing anything, are they?
I'm gonna, to your point, Martin. I'm gonna actually go against what you said in regards to the Ineos and the ownership, because the guy's been given 600 million now to spend on players. I think it's been publicly known that we are not progressing at all.
Yeah.
I think it was publicly known that they was actually looking for a new manager in the summer. Ten Hag,
key pieces on the chessboard, Luke. That's what I heard.
I think Ten Hag knew this as well. So how can he be motivated in a position where he knows really he's not the first choice? It's piss poor, to be honest. Very, very piss poor.
What is piss poor?
The whole situation since the end of last season. The decision should have came then. Even though he won the FA Cup, the performances weren't good. Well, I sound like a broken record, but we discussed it. The public know, and I think everyone's starting to realise now. I think there's no. Well, I don't think anyone wants Ten Hag at the club anymore. I think that performance last night has kind of hit the nail in the coffin, the final nail in the coffin. So yeah, just one thing before we carry on about the performance. Do you both agree on the sending off?
Liam, you take it first.
I was caught in two minds with the sending off, because it's one of those where if you write the rules down and then look and then tick and almost tick, did this happen? Yes. Tick, this happen? Yes. Did this happen? Yes. Then it's a red card. Do I think he should have been sent off for it? No, I don't. I think he slipped, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. It had all the ingredients of a red card without that little something that made it cynical and vicious. Really, it was you can stop it at a load of frames and say, look at the state of this tackle, but it's not. It's really harsh. But even if it had been a yellow, I think it would have probably been overturned if it had gone to VAR. And there was no way it was being rescinded from a red. I think he's just unlucky. He's a bit. It's like instinctive where he's kicked out after the fact where he's slipped, and he probably should know better. But it's it's a red and it's shit to say that it is.
Yeah, well, I think from the angle that the ref was at as well, from it, that's why I give the straight red, because it did look like a straight red when you first saw the replay.
Yeah.
But as you slowed it down, and to be honest, I'm kind of on the. I thought it was a yellow, but yeah, I could see where red was given. So it is what it is. But to be honest, Bruno Fernandes has been terrible since the start of the season. He's been.
What I've been wanting to ask a question is, do you think this is a good opportunity now with him being out for 3 games? The fact that, because I see Bruno as talented he is, he's probably by far and away your best player, technically. But positionally, he's a problem. Yeah. He's a massive problem for that midfield. Do you think this could be the chance where you can get Menu, Ugarte and Mount probably in a midfield 3 and try and get some balance and a bit of discipline?
I don't. You're right. He is our best player, but it seems like for the years he's been here, he's just been shoehorned into different positions. Is it a time where we've just it was that one season where he was excellent, but the rest he's kind of had moments, scored goals, but not really. If you look at the whole picture, not really put much into it. So, to your point on that three, well, I said in the group, I'm still unsure why we bought Mount.
Well, this is it. This is his chance, I guess.
Yeah, and I think a lot of pressure is on Mainu. We got to remember he's still a youngster, and we've shoehorned it. Go on, Liam.
No, I was going to say, I do like experimental things as well, and I've been watching United quite a lot. Might surprise you to hear that, Luke, as of recently, and I think this is a good opportunity to try Garnacho more centrally and play him in that sort of hole position, maybe like advanced 10. I think he can develop into quite something, but I think almost the problem we've been being out wide is that you're literally looking for him every time and it's making you predictable. So I'm thinking maybe that would be something I would potentially look at for the next United manager.
No, I would definitely go with Mount. That's his position. It's the position he's built for all these years.
He's shit though, isn't he?
He's not a bad footballer. He's not been good for a while, but he's not a bad footballer, and he's still of a good age that you can get a lot out of him.
I'm thinking maybe Agate, Casemiro, and maybe Mount in that 10 position just to show things up. I know we're going back to that 2 defensive mids, but I think that's what we need at the moment. Because at the moment, our midfield is non-existent. Teams are just running through us. Even the centre backs are running through the midfield. It happened midweek. They might as well not have a midfield. It's just, I think time has come for Ten Hag to leave. I think everyone's aware of that now. But I think my prediction, he'll be gone in the next 2 games. He'll do the Porto game, and then he'll do the Villa game, and he'll be gone. And good riddance.
All right, let's turn it around. Who would you see come in now? Is it straight go for Ruud van Nistelrooy, or is it a more long-term solution?
I've got a feeling it'll be Potter. Just because we've got Dan Ashworth, he's got a good relationship with him. I think that, and he's sporting director, and I think he will be first choice United.
You think that got him well?
No, not really. But who else? Tuchel, but he turned his nose up at us, or he's kind of assessed it and gone, fuck that shit. So,
who do you think the fans would want, Luke? When you say the fans wouldn't like Potter, who do you think the United fans would want? Because United fans wanted Ten Hag, if I remember rightly, when Pochettino was the man that would look like he was going to get it, and it was very much the fans didn't want that. They wanted Ten Hag because he was more bold and sexy, and it was like, let's go for this weird bald guy on the continent. Let's do that. That's what everyone else does. Who do you think the United fans would want this time?
Nistelrooy. I mean that.
Sorry.
That'll be the choice, and it's going backwards again. It's going to that situation where he's an ex-United player, legend. We'll get him in, but you got to remember Ten Hag brought Van Nistelrooy in.
Just on Van Nistelrooy. When I was making my lunch today, I put TalkSport on, and I was listening to, obviously, and by Monday for the listener, and I was listening to Jim White and Simon Jordan, as I do, and Martin Keown was on. And it's fair to say, I think that Martin Keown still has a little bit of a grudge against Ruud van Nistelrooy, because he was absolutely digging him out with no basis whatsoever, just going, I think Van Nistelrooy's gunning for Ten Hag's job. I never see him helping him. I wouldn't be trusting him if I was the next United manager coming in. It's obvious that he wants, and I was like, I think you've still got a little bit in for.
I think you're reading something into this, Martin. That's bold.
Anyway, boys, we're a week in to our FCA award nominations. Votes going in. I reckon we're probably on at least a couple of thousand by now. What do you think?
It must be. It's good being nominated, though. It's like a good talking point, isn't it? I'm dead happy that we got nominated. I think it shows that we're on the right paths.
Yes, I agree.
I also agree.
Luke, a voter of many email accounts. I'm sure you can go on record and say that because everyone's got at least 2.
I've got 3.
3 and still only voted once. That's cool. So the link will be on our social media, and please vote for us if you're listening to this, because it would. Me and Liam, I think Luke's unavailable that night, but me and Liam are going down for a nice drink and a schmooze with fellow folk of the industry, and you never know.
Hobnobbing with football content's best and brightest.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So let's speak on another good performance this weekend, Liam. Cole Palmer. Scott isn't here tonight, but I think it's worth a mention that we just give a couple minutes on Palmer and just how good he is, this lad.
Yeah, and I'll open with Scott's comments. Sorry for interrupting there, Martin, but I just can't wait to speak about Cole Palmer. So, Cole Palmer, Scott said, and I think he was a bit in jest on our little WhatsApp group the other night, that in his opinion, Cole Palmer is the current best player in the world. And I think it's hard to argue against that at the moment, joking aside. He is unbelievable. In every time he gets involved in a game, he's creating something. And he's creating something very, very dangerous. He's such an intelligent player. And the space that he takes up between defence and midfield of the other teams, he can do everything. He can find a pass. He can finish. What can't he do? He is up there with the best players in the world at the moment.
I agree. I don't know who he's comparable to in terms of playing style, but it's just the way he is on a pitch. And then you see, I mean, there's loads of jokes made about him in like interviews afterwards and stuff, but he doesn't come across as the brightest lad, but he's so switched on the pitch. It's like when Rooney first broke through. I know he's a bit older, but that's what it reminds me of. There's like nothing else in this kid's mind other than football and being an amazing footballer. It's so natural to him. And when he come through at City, I'd seen him a few times. You remember he scored in the Community Shield against Arsenal?
Yeah, he's playing on the left, wasn't he? Game. Did he come on? I think he came on as a sub, didn't he?
I'm not sure, you know. He might have done. You might be right. But immediately that was when Mahrez had just left and you just think, well, there's his immediate replacement. And obviously he was then swiftly sold to Chelsea for a good price. And you just think, oh, what's he done here? Chelsea are a mess. But he's turning them into a real attacking threat. I think he's so important to that Chelsea team. There's not a fault in his game for me at the moment. Luke, do you agree?
Can you imagine if we played him when we was in the Euros? I guess
there's a debate there.
Yeah, we could have.
We may have had that debate once or twice over the summer.
But yeah, he's unbelievable. I'm trying to think of a player then. This might be a long shot, but maybe Kaká.
I don't know. He's got the stature of Kaká, I guess, because he's tall, isn't he? But
yeah,
playing style, I'm trying to almost like more like Özil in terms of playing style, but a lot more active. Just like proper
and better. He actually impacts. He's a big game player, I would say, unlike Özil.
Well, agree to disagree. One of them's got a World Cup, the other one hasn't. Just radio silence from you two after slagging off Özil. That's cool. I'm saying that just his playing style. You don't have to talk about stats and start slagging off Arsenal players. We can have an okay debate here. Luke's just comparing to fucking Kaká.
Fair. Yeah.
So that's it. We're just Chelsea. Cole Palmer is good.
Yes. What else for Chelsea? Sancho is good as well.
Sancho is good.
Who'd have thought?
Not good. Sancho is a scumbag. If it's true, what you posted to the group where he's liked the result,
yeah, he did.
That is, biggest scumbag going.
Why?
And I hope
Doesn't play for you anymore.
Well, he does.
Well, you sold him.
No, he's on loan.
It's been a 25 million sale, wasn't it?
No, he's on loan.
Is it an obligation?
It's an obligation. Right.
He's still a United player, isn't he?
As good as.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like, not really, but yeah, okay. I don't think he's a scumbag. Like, I think he's a very, very good player who hopefully can thrive now. And as an English football fan, surely you hope that we get the old Jadon Sancho back that was starting for England. Like, you'd be supporting him all the way in that redemption story, I'm sure.
Sancho won't get an England squad.
There's a big queue now, if we're talking about wingers. Just go back to Chelsea for a sec while Scott's not here and we can slag him off properly. I'm only joking. I had him in my top 4 in our predictions at the beginning of the season. Did either of you two? I don't know. I don't think you did. I think Scott did.
Did I say 5th? Did I go 5th?
Yeah, you said they were all going to be up there. I can't remember exactly. Doesn't make for great podcasting.
I think I said Spurs 4th, didn't I? And that was the right. Yeah, I think it's Spurs 4th, Chelsea 5th.
But you can't argue with Chelsea's sort of attacking threat at the moment. I don't think they've had the hardest of starts, apart from obviously City on the opening day. But the rest of it has been... They've not been the hardest games, and I think they're doing all right. Are they going to be a surprise package this season, do you think?
Well, defensively, they weren't great at the weekend.
Defence is the big one. They're a bit of a mess still. They've just got so many attackers who probably not asked. They're just trying to outscore everyone.
Well, Scott thinks they need more attackers, so I don't know about that one.
They probably could do with another number 9. That's maybe a bit older, but they don't sign older players, do they? That's against their policy. So, but they could do with like a wily sort of... Tony would have been perfect, in my opinion, for Chelsea. That signing would have been perfect. Take the pressure off Nicholas Jackson, who started the season really well as well, by the way. He's been really good. But it would have taken the pressure off him a little bit in terms of starting every Premier League game, which I think's a lot to ask of him. I know Nkunku can play up front, but Chelsea seem to have hold back on that.
They've got that, what's his name, Guy or Gay or something like that?
Gui, yeah.
He's in Barca, isn't he? Something like that.
Yeah, no English person has pronounced this guy's name correctly yet. I think it's... I'm not even going to try, actually.
Gui? Is it Gui?
Is it? Who knows?
Is it?
Is it? That's how you have to say his name. Mark, is it? And then insert shitty pronunciation. Right. That wraps up Chelsea. We're going to have a quick break because I feel sick. Please, if you are listening to this, please like and share and comment. Like all the stuff on YouTube. Subscribe, please, because that would help us massively. I've set myself a target of 1,000 subscribers before Christmas. And I would really appreciate your help. What are you laughing at, you?
Nothing. Just it's a lofty target, but we'll go for it, man. We will go for it.
I love you know we're FCA nominated podcast.
Yes, we are. We are potential winners, I would say.
Yeah, we're in the running. Yes, please go and do all that. We'll have a break. Catch you in a minute. And we're back. Liam, I'm handing the reins over to you. You had a topic in mind.
Thank you, Martin. Today is Liam's week, and I want to do one of my favourite things to talk about in our little WhatsApp group. And Martin did mourn a few weeks ago that, in his opinion, we don't talk about this topic enough. I would argue we talk about it quite a lot, in my view. We don't get asked about it, me and Luke, a lot, I would say. I think that's probably a fair way to put it. But today we're going to talk about how do we fix the Arsenal? How do we turn the Arsenal into Premier League winners? How can we make sure that Edu and Mikel Arteta can proudly say that they were the ones that finally brought the trophy back to North London? So, Martin, are you ready for an Arsenal podcast?
This sounds hilarious. Let's go.
We have been accused of being a pro-Arsenal podcast online before, so it's good to see that we're finally pushing that forward.
He's one of our hosts.
He's one of our listeners as well as hosts, I would say.
Well,
But anyway, Martin, first of all, what do you think now? 5-6 games in. It is 5 or 6 games, isn't it? It's like 20 gone in our league. In the Premier League, how do you think Arsenal have started, Martin?
good. I think, yes, good is a fair assumption. Not amazing. Nothing worse than that. We've had a tough run of fixtures. A lot of away games at Villa, Spurs, Man City. Yeah, that was away. Yes. And then what are the other ones? Brighton at home. And then up until this weekend, Leicester. They've pretty much all been like sort of top half sides who you consider. So it's not been the easiest start. And we still haven't lost. With the draws at home to Brighton and then the one away at City, which I would have took at the beginning if you'd have asked me. So, yeah, I don't really have many complaints. I feel it's a little bit like last season where we started in sort of third gear and it took us a while to get going. But do you have that assumption as well?
Well, I mean, I'm just still asking the questions, Martin. I don't have an opinion, but Luke, would you agree with Martin that Arsenal have had the hard start for the season?
In a way, yes. I think the City game was in your favour. I think there was I think it was a missed opportunity there, to be honest.
How is City away in our favour?
Because all the shit that was going on in the background, I think potentially that might have impacted.
Luke, I'm going to have to do a pep here and ask you to clarify what that comment means immediately.
I'm talking about the 115 charges.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think it was the perfect opportunity to play City at their ground.
And we were winning. Up until the 99th minute.
Yeah, I still think how you set up in that second half. What did I use?
Pathetic, you called
it. I think you should have at least gone for just not that formation, because you may be able to steal a goal in there. But
we had a goal. We was 2-1 up. Listen, Luke, what happens if when you're 2-1 when you're down, maybe you go for it with 10 men, because then it doesn't matter. You're already losing. If you're winning, you maybe go and try and do it. Or you could do what Man United did this weekend, and once you've had someone sent off, carry on doing what you was doing the same, and just concede goals within minutes of having that person sent off.
That didn't happen.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, moving on. Guys, we're moving on. We can't fix the fixture computer. It was just a nice opening question. I don't want to use all our good content in that question, so we're going to move on. Luke, I'm going to come to you next to open, because I know it'll make Martin madder, and I'm here for clips and content. That's why we do this. So, Luke, do Arsenal have a disciplinary problem, do you think?
Yes. And that's been in play since last season. I think it's Arteta-led, and I think he's the one in charge to get these dodgy decisions, and he's trying to make it into a case where he's putting the rest of the teams against Arsenal, and he's making it out we're all against Arsenal. The refs are against Arsenal. There's a big agenda. I think Arteta is the ringleader for all that.
The ringleader. So you think it's an instruction? They're there to disrupt. You think
100%.
This dark arts tag that a lot of the City players are levelling at Arsenal? You think that's fair?
100%.
Martin, what do you think?
No, we had this discussion last week, and I said no, we don't. I don't think we do. I think we've not been too clever, but I don't think it's some institutionalised disciplinary tactics that Arteta's provoking on everyone. No, I think we've been the victim of some shocking decisions, and that's as far as I'd take it.
I suppose though, like, what about the antics Arteta was doing on the sideline last year when he was running up and down the length of the pitch, cheering and protesting? Surely that's going to feed onto the players.
Something friend of the podcast, Richard Keys, was keen to point out quite a lot, wasn't it, Luke?
Exactly. Friend of the
What
podcast.
you think that's negative? That I just see it as someone who cares and he's trying to get his message across. I like it. I'm happy that he's bouncing around. He could be sat there scratching his head like some other managers, not knowing what he's trying to get his point across. So yeah, I'd have no problem with it.
He's gone from light bulbs to kicking balls away.
Martin, let me frame this question differently, because obviously we're looking for fixes here, the Fixing Football podcast. If you weren't so obsessed with wasting time in the Brighton and Arsenal game, do you think you could have got more than the points that we're offering those games? Because we're here to try and help you win the league. We're trying to help. This is all trying to help you, man.
More than 3 points. We could have got more than 3 points in that game.
You got a point in each of those games. Do you think you could have converted at least one of those into a free? If you'd have kept your heads.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But again, it was just... So I'm going to keep harping over because my view on it is that there were poor refereeing decisions. And if you can throw back to the letter of the law, but there's just... there's a way of doing things, that's not it, and there's a way of trying to enforce a rule that isn't enforceable on a consistent basis.
It looked pretty enforceable to me in those games.
Well, there was the interview, like the celebrity referee Dermot Gallagher. Dermot Gallagher gets on Sky Sports on a Monday and tells us what's gone wrong, and then there was an incident
with the brilliant mind of Steve at Warnock to help him. Is that
Jesus Christ, honestly, but. This is just all to...
Sorry, Stephen.
It's some sort of ploy to help us sympathise with referees, and it just makes them question us. It just makes us question them more. So we was told that the Trossard one against City for kicking the ball away is what we're talking about, by the way, delaying the restart. The Trossard one was absolutely stupid and a complete red, and it was delaying the restart. And then there was a foul on Saka, and then Ndidi kicked the ball away this weekend. And Dermot Gallagher's response was that, well, this isn't the same because the player's down and the free kick couldn't be taken anyway.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but that was the same because Bernardo Silva was down. So the City couldn't have taken it. What do you mean, no? This is fact. You can't say no when I'm saying facts here, mate. These are the two exact same things. You can tell me some bullshit now, but that's exactly what happened. So how can we sympathise with referees when this is the sort of explanation that we're given?
I feel like when you talk about this, obviously that we shared this image the other day in the group of Abe Simpson, old man yells at cloud. That's what I feel like. I feel like you just get off on your high horse, and there's just no you will just not listen to any other viewpoint.
I'm giving you my viewpoint, and you're dismissing it as nah. When I'm trying to give you some actual reason,
I think you've had a bit of leniency by referees. I look at that Calafiore second tackle at the weekend, and the game at 2-2 was it at that point? That was
potentially.
No,
I mean it was maybe at 2-2. I'm not sure when it was.
Okay.
I think we got away with it. I think the referee probably wanted to avoid some headlines, but that's been caused by his mates from the previous weeks. I actually do think that. Yeah.
Interesting. Or maybe he wants to avoid the Arsenal Twitter, which moves on to our next question, Luke. I'll come to Martin first on this one. I like to go from, Martin says pass the ball around.
Don't bother.
Why? Martin, come on. Be positive. This is going quite well. I thought we're trying to turn Arsenal into league winners, Martin. They're going to be uncomfortable conversations. It's not, you have to challenge yourself if you want to win. Look,
okay.
Pep would say that. He'd agree. So,
is he a friend as well?
No, I don't think Pep would be a friend of the podcast. I don't think Pep would be a friend. I'd say he's the most likely to listen to it because with our references that we make. But anyway, moving on. So, it's an Arsenal podcast. So, why didn't Arsenal buy a striker, Martin? And should you have done?
Why didn't we? I think because the right one at the right money, the right deal wasn't available. Is my only option. Is my only explanation because we tried to get Chesko early on, and then he ended up signing a new contract. I think that might have been we'll come back for him another point, thinking that we may go for I know Gyökeres was mentioned a lot of times. Maybe the Tony deal was on at some point. Osimhen was mentioned, like he was mentioned with every top club in Europe. So I think there was conversations there, but getting the right one and the right character in for the right money, I think is probably what stopped us. And thinking that we had a fit and available Jesus and Kai Havertz to lead the line for us would do the job. Is my view on what the thinking was behind it. Should we have brought the bank for Gyökeres? Yes. And probably Osimhen as well. I think we should have got him in too. Not two. One not two. One of them two would have been fine. That's my opinion. We should have shined a striker, yeah.
Is that to be able to play in a different way? Because I know you in the past you've wanted Vlahovic, haven't you?
Yeah, that type of striker, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, say, 18 months ago when we were sort of first linked with him. That sort of style of striker is the one that we need. Almost like a Van Persie-esque, someone who's technical but also big and strong and can, sort of play both, very dynamic but still be a target man as well when you need it.
Harry Kane.
Tony.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned him, yeah. There was rumours that Tony had spoken with Arteta, and I don't think it went very well. And I think his wage demands have been pretty severe. I mean, You see what he's earning in Saudi, but I think his wages are a big one there. Was it Simon Jordan who came out and said that he was after?
Yeah, I've heard that from quite a few different people. I think the issue with Tony is that he's never had that big contract. So
and this would have been it, yeah.
He had to make it count. I'd have done the same thing if I was him, by the way.
Yeah.
He's had a different career than others. Yeah, ideally he'd play in England, but he's going to earn now in the next 3 years what he would earn in a big career that he'd have got away for it. And sometimes you just have to take the money in life.
Yeah.
Don't you
my opinion is that's we still should have gone ahead and done that and brought the bank for someone.
Fair enough.
But that's just is what it is with this market. Strikers, that style. You see what Tottenham paid for Solanke, which was inflated probably. But yeah, it was just not many of them out there.
No, I think it's sensible. I think Sterling was pretty good cover as well.
Yeah, and the fact that we got an attacker in like Sterling does sort of cover that gap as well when you can switch him and Martinelli out, or in turn hopefully rest Saka at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll happen one day.
One day. Luke, just a quick side thing to Manchester United. Do you need another striker as well? Are you going to be fighting in the same fishing pond as Arsenal, looking for
fighting in the pond,
the big fish, if you will? Yeah, the big shark in there, the big the next goal scoring super shark in that pond, Luke.
Yes, and it goes back to the point where we said last year, why did we just go for Harry Kane when he was available? Brought the bank, proven goal scorer, and then we've gone for a youngster who's, I keep hearing's got potential, but I'm not seeing it. And then we've gone for but Xerxes, who's meant to be a number 9, but really is a number 10. So yeah, we'll be in the same category as Arsenal.
Can I ask you both a question? What you think about the sort of self-imposed rules that clubs are putting on themselves about the age profile of a striker these days? It's all to maintain some sort of sell-on fee. But when have Man United been concerned about a sell-on fee? And like, in history, there's only one way down there's only one way for Man United, and that's down. And that's usually the case with Arsenal as well, unless they go to Barcelona, Real Madrid, or somewhere. Like, these top clubs, why are they so asked about sell-on fee? What is it?
It's
like buying Harry Kane. Buying Harry Kane is guaranteed. It's 30 goals a season. You're buying a Premier League, a world-class star.
It's not just that. It's to do with the amortisation of later on. So if you do offer him another contract, you can then spread that further. So that big fee then actually doesn't affect a lot of your financial fair play if you do him another contract after 2 years. I listened to a fellow Premier League FCA podcast, The Price of Football by Kieran Maguire. So I like to think of them as a contemporary now, on the same level as that podcast now.
A peer.
Yeah, exactly. A peer, if you will, yeah. So he talks a lot about this, and some of it goes over my head, some of it I tend to get, and there's a benefit on that front as well. It's just to do with financial fair play. basically, like everything.
But is it at the risk of success now? I mean, because you look at, I'll use Man United because they were linked with Kane, and I think Ten Hag came out and said that they were after Kane until it got to the 100 million mark. Like, but that they need that guy, they need that thing. Like, why is it so much that they need to spread that out? Why are Man United and Arsenal worried about this? It's baffling to me.
I suppose it's more relevant to you, to be honest, Martin. An Arsenal case, I think that is, if we boil down to it, I think that's the missing ingredients for Arsenal. That forward is going to get you goals because defensively you're great, aren't you? There's no question about that. But going forward, there's question marks. And when City kind of needed a striker, they went out and got the best in the world. So that's what you're right. You should have gone out and just spent the money just to get that title in your hands.
I don't think I'm going to go back on myself a little bit, but I don't think that not buying a striker will cost us the league. I think we're going to do it this year. I am confident about it. I know we're trying to fix it and turn us into striker. The point of this whole question was to turn us into title winners, but I've got us down as winning it. I think goals will come. They will be spread elsewhere. Providing we get Odegaard back at some point soon.
Okay, well, I disagree. You need one. So next, right. Arsenal.
Okay.
The Arsenal.
The Arsenal. 3-4 years from now, very different setting. Maybe Manchester City aren't necessarily the Manchester City that we have today. Are Arsenal the dominant club in England now? And if they are, who's competing with them? Luke.
I don't think so.
Why not?
I think with these, I think it goes in waves, to be honest. Like Liverpool waves, they've gone up and then they've obviously on the way, well, they're not on the way down, but they've not competed since they've really won the league.
Not dominated either when they won the league. I mean, they dominated that season. No, they dominated that season.
They was the best team in the world.
Right. For one season.
Well, there's 2 seasons.
No, they won the Champions League and finished second, and then they won the Premier League the year after. In what world is that domination when Man City won 7 out of 6 titles available? 6 out of 7, sorry.
You could tell Liverpool was definitely on the way up, and they won the Champions League, and then they won the Premier League. That is, and that's what I'm saying.
You're not describing domination. You're describing a peak of where they are. They peaked. They wasn't dominating like Man City had done.
Exactly, and that's what I said. It comes in waves. And I think Arsenal, if they don't do it this year, I can see them moving down the other side of the graph.
Are you suggesting, Luke, that for the top 6 club, life is a roller coaster, and you're just going to ride it? Is that?
I like Roman. Like Roman Keating said, yes.
Roman Keating.
But if they are, would you say that United's like the Oblivion, and they're just gone straight into the floor and never seen again?
I wouldn't say that. I definitely think United will be back in 10 years. What did the director say? 2028 or something?
2028, we're going to have a go at that league. That's what he said.
And Dr. Dre's next album will be out as well. Martin, are you going to be the dominant force in European football?
No. It's hard to predict a period of domination like this. I think the work that's gone in to this current squad and everything that Edu and Arteta have set up in the wake of this will keep us in good stead for a long time now. But you are right that it does happen in waves, and United's time will come again, and Liverpool will be back up there, and then God knows Chelsea and Newcastle have got the money of God behind them. Plus City, their money's not going away, and despite what's going to happen to them at the end of all these charges, what could happen, they'll be back because they've got the money to be back. So it's hard to predict a period of domination, but I think we'll be in and around the elite for a long time to come.
I think I misheard what you said, Liam. You said European. Arsenal never been dominant in Europe, have they? Really? So in England, yes, potentially this year, but as Martin says,
He didn't ask what had happened in the past. He didn't say that. What was the point in your response there?
Because you keep saying that it's all about the league, but really the big trophy is Champions League. That's what you should be focusing on.
Luke, go back. Right. The question was, can Arsenal sustain some level of domination across Europe as well? And I said no, and you said, well, they've never done it. Of course, they've never done it. We're not breaking historical facts to people here.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that interjection, Luke. So what? I'll pin you down on one more thing here, Martin, before we move on. Should Arsenal win at least one Premier League and one Champions League in the next 3 years?
Should they?
Should they? If you're the dominant team in England, should you theoretically be at least one of the dominant three in Europe? Would be my thing.
Yes, they should, and I think that's the goal, is to be. When Arteta came in, I mean, there was a different sort of group of people behind him at that point. But once his sort of relationship with Edu and they got all that thing set up, the 5-year plan was to, in that 5 years' time, win the Premier League and be competing right at the top of the Champions League. Now we're at 5 years now in, and we've been, when we got into the top four, people said, when we missed out on the top four, everyone said, this was your chance, you're never going to be back. And then the year after we finished second, and it's a fluke. What you've got to do is go again. And then we did go again, and we finished 7 points, within 7 points of City, and then last year we finished within 2 points of City. I don't want to put the crazy pressure on it that this year we have to win the league, because it's fucking impossible to say that and rest all your laurels on that. But as long as we are challenging and up there, that's where you've got to be, and you've got to be fucking perfect to be there. With regards to Europe, I think we've got to be making waves there big time too. Should we win it? I mean, I don't know how to answer that really. Yes, I think we can. Can I ask you what you think of the new Champions League format, and you think that if that's going to play into stuff? Because I'm a bit I feel like whoever wins it this time round, this first time, it's always going to be like, well, no one was really used to this sort of format. I don't know. It's going to be a tournament format at some point, isn't it?
Well, I'm a bit disappointed, Mike, because I thought I was asking the questions, but I'll allow it. I both hate and fear anything that's new in my life, so instantly I resent and dislike it. The truth is, I actually quite like it. You're playing against a more diverse set of teams. You're gonna get more games that matter. So at the time of recording, I think tomorrow night, Martin, is it, or tonight
PSG.
When it goes out, PSG at home. So that's a great game, and So and the group stages before were boring as fuck anyway. And that's I think they were just more simple to follow, but no one really watched it. I'd come on here and I'd be like, "Oh, did you watch Newcastle's Dortmund?" They're like, "Oh no, I had a live Liam, so no, I didn't watch it." And I'd be like, "That's quite a big game." Like, people sitting and watch Premier League and they're like, "Tonight, what is it? Bournemouth versus Southampton." People watch that more than they'd watch PSG versus Bayern or something in a group. So I think it adds near to it. I'm happy to give it a go. Luke, you won't like it because it's new, but please go ahead and explain why you don't like anything new in your life.
Yeah, I don't, to be honest. Yeah, I'm a bit the same as Martin. I don't really kind of get it, to be honest. This new format. I think I just need to get used to it. But
yeah,
I suppose like you get games like your Villa and your Bayern Munich's now. That's going to be a big game, especially for our Villa listeners.
All four of them. I do agree that the early stages will be better, but I'm just skeptical of how it's all going to play out. But yeah, we just got to get used to it. if it turns out we're really good at this format, then I'll change my mind in when it comes to May.
Just on before we move on. So you drew the last game. It was against who was it? Atalanta.
Atalanta, yeah.
Yeah. Is it
Winners
a more
of the Europa
impact?
League.
Is it more impact if you draw now? Like, is there more chance you can be in that bottom half to actually go out the Champions League?
I don't know.
No?
This league format, there's probably more of a chance of you getting through.
Yeah, there is. So it's the top 8. Right, so it's a one big league of 32.
Yeah.
Top 8 will go through. Then the next 16 will play each other in a playoff round. And the bottom 8 go out. So there's a lot more chance. Yeah. Was it 30? Okay, yeah, 36. Is it not 32? 32 goes into 16 then, doesn't it?
I'm trying to work it out now.
Yeah, it's going to be 32. Or else...
Okay.
Yeah.
No, but 32 was the original... We sound dumb as fuck here. 32 was the number and it's been increased. I'm sure it's 36.
All right, well, yeah. Well, then the bottom 12 will go out then.
So there's more incentive to not... Well, like the last format, if you drew, it wasn't really a big deal, I suppose, with this one. It's the same? Or what? Because you get to the final game and it could be like, it doesn't really matter. But all games in this matter, I suppose.
More matter.
More so. Yeah, more matter, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess if you win your first 5 games, you're probably going to be all right. So that bit wouldn't matter. And then I don't know if they do like a seeding thing after this, but anyway, we're getting into the weeds of the Champions League here. I'll circle you back, Liam.
You're circling back to the Arsenal. And to be fair, just before we do go on, you mentioned Villa there. Must be quite nice to take inspiration from another English European Cup winner, Martin. Someone to aspire to there with Aston Villa being back in the Champions League.
I often fall asleep most nights thinking about how good Aston Villa were in the 70s.
Fair enough. So one more thing, Martin, before we bring this Arsenal episode to a close. And it's a bit of a fun question for you, Martin.
Love this.
What do you think it'll take for the statue of your...
Oh, fuck off, man.
Legendary manager Arsene Wenger to have a Mikel Arteta next to him in his sort of office type jacket type thing that he wears? What do you think he'd have to achieve to be stood there in bronze next to the legendary Arsene Wenger?
Have to do something that makes his legacy immortal, which is what I think a statue should represent. That's winning the Champions League or going the league unbeaten again. Who knows? Something historical, legendary, iconic.
Well, it's still on this season, isn't it? The Invincibles 2.
One of 5 teams left in the 92, still unbeaten.
Yeah, you chat this every year, don't you? Arsenal fans, I've noticed. They chat this every time it's done. It's like...
It. Yeah, when one of the big teams lose, like City, like when Liverpool lost, I was like, oh, thank God. Like, it's good. That record's still intact. And as soon as City lose this season, I'll be happy again.
Fair enough. Well, that concludes my Arsenal questions, Luke. Was there anything that you wanted to ask Martin, if or forever hold your peace on the Arsenal front?
Can we go back to what this... So Scott called this a pro-Arsenal podcast.
Yes.
My gripe has been you lot never ask me nothing. I sit there and ask you questions like you're actual experts when we're all as thick as each other, but I'm just sharing the love here and asking you about your stupid clubs and their ridiculous idiocies, and you never ask about Arsenal. You just slag them off.
I dislike Arsenal.
Yeah, you can dislike them, but no one likes Man United famously, and yet I still ask you nice, objective questions. So this is...
Do you think? Yeah, but I should tell you why it is, right? I should tell you why people don't like Arsenal. And they don't like Arsenal.
I had this one with someone this weekend, but go on.
It's very easy. It's because Arteta's possibly the most dislikable person in the history of football.
I don't think it is that at all.
And I want Arsenal to win until I see Arteta. And I don't want him to have any good days in his life at all. I want him to suffer.
That is fucking horrible.
I was fuming when City scored the equaliser. I actually wanted you to win that game. But then when I saw Haaland say to Arteta, be humble, it made my weekend. I must, because I know how much that will burn inside him. So that's why I don't like Arsenal. In fact, I don't mind Arsenal. I just can't stand Mikel Arteta. Just can't stand him.
All right. Thanks for that off-topic reply. But the point of my speech then was that you lot never fucking asked me about him.
I've just asked you about 6 questions in a row about Arsenal.
Yeah, we're 70 episodes in, Liam.
Well, Arsenal need to be more interesting. That's not my fault.
No, you want to talk about him, and I'm happy to talk about him. I'm happy to talk about him as much as we talk about all the other clubs.
Shall I tell you why we don't ask you that many questions? It's starting to apply to Scott as well, this. Is you can't say anything negative about your club. Everything has to be positive. There's always a bright side. Me and Liam will slag our clubs off. You two.
The clubs are in the mud.
I prefer it.
Liam is a narcissist at the best of times. And Man United are bad. You can't just be that deluded. Scott's pretty deluded when he talks about Chelsea because they are a shit show. But they've got Cole Palmer, so that makes them good. Man United are a mess, and it's really fun to laugh at them. Arsenal are doing well. So all your jibes, your quirky jibes, they're not landing. They just make no sense.
So are we jealous? Is that the problem?
Jealous, spiteful, narcissistic. There's a lot of other words as well.
I don't think I'm any of them things.
Well, a narcissist wouldn't, obviously. But that's fine.
Right, I think we can end it there before there's any more outlandish accusations made.
Outlandish. Wrap it up then, Liam.
Oh, thanks for listening, everyone.
Liam's just his head's fallen off. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please don't forget to vote. You find the links in the description of this episode and all across our social media. Join in we're at Fixing Football on Twitter /X, whichever one you want to call it. It's still going to be Twitter for a long time yet. And please subscribe on YouTube and help me with my goal against myself. We want 1,000 by Christmas. Yeah, I'm getting the vote. You can find the details for all these things at fixingfootballpodcast.com and the links to all our social media there, and then you can find the links to vote, which will be in the descriptions for all our videos. Please tell all your friends and colleagues about it. That's the share bit. You like and share and subscribe. Yeah. Comment. Tell them as well. You can say, I listened to this podcast. It was good. They talked about Arsenal quite a lot, but it was all right. Yeah, this week might be a bit niche, but we cover some topics in general sometimes as well. Rate it on Apple because we're going big on the audio side of stuff at the minute. The video's looking pretty smooth, if I do say so myself, but audio is where we're at. So yes, please do rate it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And thank you everyone for listening. We will catch you on the next one.
Bye, friends.
Goodbye.